All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Fit IT Guy. And today we're going to be installing a bunch of accessories from my 2020 Model Y and seeing if they fit into the new 2026 Tesla Model Y Juniper. So we have a bunch of accessories here, a bunch of carbon fiber, some trunk mats, a couple other random things. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, first things first, I actually had put in this trunk mat from my previous Model Y. This was just a black, fully covering trunk mat that is one piece, which is great. As you saw in the beginning of the video, I had some white trunk mats, which I really like. It matches the white interior, gives it a nicer look to the trunk of the car. However, I noticed that when loading in luggage and things with wheels, the wheels would scratch the mat. Otherwise, the mats were perfectly easy to clean. So anytime I was transporting luggage, I would put this one on top of the white mats. For everything else, the white mats, they would just, be super easy to clean, so I never had an issue. So these ones fit. They fit perfectly fine on the new 2026 Model Y. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and take these out and let's see if the white ones fit. Okay, so one cool thing I noticed when putting down the power folding seats is if there's something in the way, it'll just stop right there. If it thinks it's not a person, I guess. If it's a person, it'll just come right back up, as I've seen in videos. So I have the first piece of the white trunk mats here. And it mostly matches the new design. However, there is this cutout here that wasn't on the previous Model Y. However, it looks like it does fit overall. So let's go ahead and put this down. And it does fit. There is a little crease here from having it folded for about 2 weeks now since the previous car. And let's go ahead and put in the next piece. My biggest thing is I hope this doesn't interfere with the operation of the seats. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. Okay, so far so good. We just have to really worry about the covers on the back of the seats and how that works with the cover here, if they squish each other or not, if they get in the way. So that'll be the next step. So we actually have the back left seat here now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down and I'm gonna go to the side door here. Next, we have this middle one here. And let's go ahead and put this back up and let's see what happens. All right, it closes perfectly normal. That's great. I didn't know what to expect, but now let's do the right seat. All right, this one fits on great as well, and it comes right back up. Everything looks good. All right, next I have the two side pieces here that go on the side bolsters. And the right one. All right, so we can see here how it looks. Not too bad, but the rest of the trunk mat looks fine. We just have these little creases because it was folded, but over time those should go away. Again, the trunk mat's been great. We just see we have a few little line scratches here from dragging luggages in and out. So that's where that other black cover comes in that I was using. When transporting luggages, everything else is fine. These little things, these all come out. I use Hydro Silex interior cleaner and interior ceramic coating, and that really cleans and protects all the white leather in the car. All right, guys, next we have the seat cover here. So the previous model, it would kind of just clip around this. Let's go ahead and see, and it would attach to the bottom here with some hooks. We have two hooks on the end of it here that would attach to the bottom. And it does give us a little storage cubby here. So let's go ahead and give it a try. The reason I really like this accessory is it just makes the whole interior white. You don't have this black plastic here. If there's one thing I hate in vehicles, cars and motorcycles, is plastic. I really hate plastic in cars where it's not necessary. So if I can just cover it up with some leather and it's a really good price, I'll link all of the accessories here on Amazon, then I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Little tight here, definitely a lot harder to put in than the previous car, but let's see what we can do. If I can just get the top in, I think the rest of it will be pretty easy, if the shape is the same, of course. All right, I was able to pull that snugly. Now we can kind of just stick our hands here and get this around. All right, by the way, I'm 6 foot. With the seat all the way back, the driver's seat, which is probably never going to happen unless you have Shaq in the car driving. And I still have a ton of space. Obviously I can't stick my legs straight out, but I can stick my legs to the side, and I'm perfectly comfortable here with plenty of room for my head too. All right, so far this is going great. Let me get the other side. And now I'm just gonna hook in the bottom, and let's see if there's anywhere for me to hook these 2 hooks into. All right, so we can see here, I just got the full seat cover on. There was somewhere to hook it. It wasn't the cleanest and easiest hooking solution, but it is perfectly stable down there now. And we can see how this looks compared to the stock look. So it's really up to you what you prefer. I've seen some nice accessories like a full carbon fiber piece that goes on this whole thing. If that wasn't $650, I'd love to do that. But for, I think this was like 40 or 50 bucks when I originally bought it. This is definitely a nice way to go. Again, you're kind of getting rid of the plastic look and putting on full leather. I think there's not enough white in this car, especially compared to the previous model. You know, especially with the dash there. The dash on the previous model was, you know, had some white on it. So the more white we can throw in here without going overboard, the better. And here's the full look with both seat covers on. You can see it looks very nice, much nicer than it did before. And I love these seat back covers. So next I had this little black leather, leatherette I should say, storage bin that I used to have some USB charge cables for the rear section here for any passengers. You can see it kind of has a certain shape. And let's see if this fits in the section here. It should fit. The shape might be different. Oh, actually we're getting some Velcro action in here. Let's see if it sticks on both sides. Oh, okay, actually that does work. So here's a little storage bin that fits back here. It does stick out a little bit, but it's actually really good. All right guys, next I have these carbon fiber seatbelt accents. So this goes right onto this piece here, and it pretty much just clips on. However, it did have some clear 3M tape here that unfortunately when I took it off the previous car came off. So without the tape there, I can't put it on at this moment, but it actually does fit perfectly. It's the same seatbelt design, and I thought these little red carbon fiber accents match the outside of the car because it's red. I just thought it gave a nice touch. What I'd really like to do is put some red seat belts in here. I haven't really seen anyone do seat belts, custom seat belts on these. I know T-Sportline does, but they charge an arm and a leg for that. So this one is approved as fitting in the 2026 Model Y. So next I have these carbon fiber door handles from EVBase. I had done a video of these on my previous car. I really love them. They're matte carbon fiber. Just a really nice clean look. However, again, when I pulled them off the car, a lot of the tape came off of these, so I'll have to put on some new tape here. But I'm pretty sure the door handle design is exactly the same. So let's go ahead and take one of these and put it on the door handle, and let's see what happens here. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if the door handle is exactly the same size, and it looks like it is. So even with the little bit of tape that was still on here, we can see it's stuck there. It didn't really stick there all the way. I'm going to need to put some more tape. This fits perfectly. Same exact size for the door handles, just so you know. So any door handle covers or vinyl wrap or whatever that you buy for your new 2026 Model Y Juniper will fit, even if it says it's for the first generation Model Y. And it just gives it a nice design there. Let's come back a little bit and see. Nice and cool. So one other thing I have here is this underseat storage tray. And I really mainly used this to stop water bottles and other things that were on the floor from going under the seat and possibly getting stuck in the AC vent, you know, if they were small enough. I just mainly got this to stop that from happening. It also is great because it doubles as a storage container. And let's see if this fits. Kind of, not really. All right, I just could not get this one to fit. There really wasn't any way of getting this under here, so we know that under the seat, the storage bins for the original Model Y will not fit in the 2026 Juniper model. So, no for that one. All right, so the next thing we have here are these Juniper style carbon fiber mirror covers from EVBase. Again, I'll have links to everything in the description. This was from EVBase, and really great design. So if you have the original 2020 to 2025 Model Y, this basically gives you the new Juniper style skull cap mirrors, as they call it, which increases your efficiency by 4% and reduces some wind noise, which is pretty cool. And it does have the design on the inside too, so I'm pretty curious to see if this will actually fit the Juniper. I'm assuming they actually designed this for the Juniper, taking a mold of the mirror and just made it fit onto the original Model Y. So what we're going to do now is put this on and see if this works. Okay, so we have the mirror cover here. What's great about this is a lot of people put on paint protection film on the front of their car, you know, hood, bumper, the front fenders here, and the mirrors. Instead of having to put PPF or wrapping your mirrors, you can just put this cover on. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide it over and see what happens here. It's pretty much the same design, right? So it should fit. It still has the tape on it from the previous Model Y somehow. I was able to recover it with the tape. So let's see if this fits. I'm not too worried about scratching the paint because the tape is there. That's going to stop it from scratching, really. All right, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's fitting. There's some slight measurement difference here where it's just not fitting on at the bottom of it. It was fitting the top. I think this is slightly less, slightly not as wide as the new mirror. So if you are going to get a mirror cover for your new Model Y Juniper, no matter what the mirror cover is, make sure you're ordering one for the 2026 Juniper because the ones from the first generation Model Y do not fit on this. So good to know. So next I have these performance pedals from Spigen, and I really love Spigen products. I use their screen protectors on all my phones and iPads, and of course on the Model Y screen, my previous one. They have some pedals here too that I had on my previous car. I really like these pedals, and I'll tell you why I'm a big fan of them. They have screws here, screws to hold them on. The way any pedal works on the Model Y is it kind of just slides on. It has some grooves here. As you can see, it just slides onto the pedal. So I don't really trust that too much. I want it to be a locking pedal. So this one slides on and then it locks with the screws. You can see these screws are super long, so it really locks it in there. So let's go ahead and see if the pedals are even the same shape and if they'll accept these new pedal covers. Just give it a nice, sportier look. All right, first thing we see here is it does look like these pedals will actually just slide onto there. What's on here currently is pedal covers from the factory. So we're going to go ahead and remove these, and it should actually slide in or slide out somehow. Or actually, so these pedal covers don't slide. These ones are just rubber covers like so. And that's what your pedals actually look like. I'm guessing this one is either missing a pedal cover or just doesn't come with one. So that's interesting to see. So for this now, I'm going to go ahead and take out these screws and we'll go ahead and slide the cover on. All right, here's the cover. Let's see if it slides on. If it does, I'll be so happy because I really love these covers. So far, so good. Almost there. Nice. Good job, Tesla. Actually, we're using the same pedal design from the previous model. I don't mind at all one bit. This just means I can transfer over a lot more of my accessories. So now I'm just going to go ahead and screw these in to lock it in here. Make sure you get it nice and tight. The last thing you want is for pedal covers to come off. That's dangerous. That's like not good. All right, next, let's see if this one slides on. It looks like it's the same design as the previous model also. So far so good. Sliding on, boom, clicked in. That was a nice satisfying click. And let's go ahead and screw it in. All right, that fit on perfectly, and look at that difference. Looks so much better, so much sportier. If I come back here, look how nice that is. All right, so the next thing we have here are the side buckets for the side storage containers here. These bins come with a top carpet cover. I unfortunately brought only one bin and didn't bring the carpet covers, but this is the left one here. So let's go ahead and see if this fits. I'm hoping it does, because that'll be great also. And let's see, a little tight. And wow, that fits actually perfectly. And it actually clips right in here where it should. The only issue I see with this is if you do keep the parcel cover in the storage section there for the parcel cover storage, this will block it. So that's the only negative I see here. For me, I don't use the parcel cover at all. I actually removed it from the car completely. And I found it was very annoying when it was in the storage section here, because anytime I wanted to put stuff in the sub trunk, which you can see I have all my tools in here, it would get in the way, and it just made it a lot more tedious of a process to put stuff in the sub trunk. So I just was like, let me take it out of the car. So these bins do fit in there if you are keeping the parcel shelf up here, or if you're just not keeping it in the car at all. All right, so the next thing I have here is an ambient lighting LED strip for the trunk. I really liked it on my previous Model Y because I felt like the trunk light was too dim at night and I couldn't really see inside the trunk. So I had this. It goes around the trim. It goes under the rubber trim here, and it just really lights up the whole area, and it just looks pretty cool too. So hopefully the trunk is the same dimensions, and let's see if this fully fits in there. It also plugs into the 12-volt socket right over here, and you can see it turn on. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm putting it in, but one thing I have to say is the rubber gasket that they have here now is really covering the whole light. Before there was a lot of, there was a bigger gap in the rubber gasket around the car. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'll put it in for now and we'll test it out at night. I'll show a little clip here and let's see if it does anything. All right, I'm gonna say this one's a bust. I kept putting it in around the rubber gasket. The rubber gasket completely covered all the light. And one thing I forgot to mention is this came with a magnet. So the magnet would go somewhere over here on the trunk, and when it would close, it would turn the light off. However, if you're driving and you don't have that magnet in, this light will stay on all the time when you're driving, and that's really annoying. So first of all, you're not even gonna see it because the rubber gasket's covering it, but this is just not a fit. So this ambient lighting for the trunk is a no-go for the 2026 Model Y Juniper. If you're gonna buy one of these, make sure it's for the 2026 Model Y. And one thing I will mention is if anyone's interested in any of the products here that did not fit in my car today, you're more than welcome to reach out. Buy them from me for a discounted price, a very discounted price. I have no use for them if they don't fit in this car, so please contact me. We're down to the last few accessories now. I had these very nice carbon fiber turn signal stock and gear shift stock covers for the Model Y. Obviously we know one of these isn't gonna work because we don't have a gear shifter anymore. So let's try out the turn signal stock, and I'm going to give you a little hint. The shape of the new turn signal stock is completely different, so this most likely won't work, but let's go ahead and give it a try. Okay, let's go ahead and see if this fits. Again, the shape of the stock is different. We can see that's so loose. This one actually didn't come with any tape. It actually clicked onto the stock. So we can see how much smaller the stock is here actually compared to the previous stock on the first generation Model Y. So this one's a no-go as well, unfortunately. All right, so I have this USB hub. This is a 4-port USB hub, so 2 USB-C, 2 USB-A, and it plugged in with a USB-A and USB-C. This was for the very first gen Model Y with the original center console. And this probably isn't gonna work. So if we open the glove box, we see that there is a USB stick in there already, which is great from Tesla for putting a USB stick in here from the factory for Sentry mode. They should have done that from the beginning. But there isn't a 2-slot USB-A and USB-C, especially with the spacing that this one has. So this one too is a no-go. And goodbye to my 256 gig Samsung USB flash drive, which was great. Last but not least, we have my trusty Magback Magsafe wireless charging mount for the iPhone. I found out, because I'll be getting a new one of these from Magback directly, that the design is different. They do have one that is specifically for the 2026 Tesla Model Y. However, if you have one from your previous Model Y and you want to put it on here, let's see if it works. We still actually have a lot of tape on here, and I'm just curious to see if this will stick. We're already getting some different spacing here. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. It sticks. It sticks out a little bit too. It does stick to the corner here. The only issue is your phone will be kind of angled towards you, which for most people actually won't be a problem at all. It just won't be flat with the screen here. But if you do have one of these, and mine's all scratched up because I had a quad lock case that was very dirty and scratched up this. They usually don't get scratched up like that, just to let you know. Sorry, if you do have a Magback phone mount from your original Model Y, it will fit on the new Model Y. However, it will be slightly angled towards you, which again isn't a bad thing. I'll actually grab my phone to show that to you. We'll just go ahead, stick it on there. It's not charging at the moment because I didn't plug in the 12-volt cigarette lighter, but the phone is here, and let me just straighten it out. The phone is angled towards me. I actually kind of like this. It's not bad. So if you do have a Magback, never mind. You need some extra tape, but it will fit. You need some new tape, I should say.